For more than a century, Chicago has relied on the red and purple lines to keep our city moving. But much of the infrastructure dates back to the early 1900s and was never built for today's ridership or accessibility needs. To serve a growing, modern city, it was time to rebuild our 100-year-old rail structures while keeping Chicago moving.
So the Red Line is Chicago's busiest transit line. We carry about 40 million rides on the Red Line every year. So having the Red Line modern, updated is very important to the city.
From the beginning of the Red Purple Modernization project, we started working on this back in the beginning of the 2000s with trying to secure funding, getting the community involved, getting the business community involved, getting electeds involved and jazzed up for us to start implementing this $2.3 billion project that would impact every community between Belmont and Bryn Mawr and Andersonville to the lake.
So my hope for the project all along was to make sure people felt heard, make sure their questions were being answered. And yeah, we wanted to win them over. We wanted them to see what we believed all along, that this project was going to be a very great thing for CTA, our riders, and Chicago.
Modernizing a century-old rail system in one of Chicago's densest corridors required more than construction. It required a new approach.
Since the beginning of RPM, we did know that we needed to minimize the impacts to the community. And we really stressed that in the contract and then in our process to select the design-build contractor. And Walsh Floor's concept to bring us the precast structure really kind of put them at the forefront to make sure that we could build in this community with minimal impacts.
The gantry allowed crews to work within feet of active rail lines, reducing street closures, limiting disruption, and shrinking the construction footprint in surrounding neighborhoods. By delivering the bypass early, RPM eliminated one of the system's longest-standing bottlenecks, improving reliability for riders years before the project was fully complete.
So you can't have rapid transit when you're doing jogs around things. So part of this project was to move that historic building. So we built a new foundation and moved that historic building about 35 feet so we could straighten out the bend in the L.
But building responsibly wasn't only about how we constructed. It was about how we showed up for the community. From the beginning, RPM embedded a conscientious approach into both construction and community engagement, working to minimize impacts while keeping Chicago moving.
We opened a community office. We had many community meetings in person, virtually. We did everything we could think of to make sure that people saw us and knew us in the community and felt comfortable approaching us.
At the beginning of the RPM project, CTA created an Open for Business campaign that was an advertising platform for all of our local businesses to get extra attention.
We will certainly really miss the family we've created with the social media teams and the marketing and the construction. It has been really great to partner with other programs in which we've never had the opportunity to, and really think of ourselves as well as our business in a different light.
But RPM wasn't only about minimizing disruption. It was also about expanding opportunity.
Yeah, RPM really allowed for us to expand opportunities for disadvantaged business enterprises, or DBEs, and for small businesses, as well as expanded workforce goals to help folks get careers through our contracts, specifically in the trades.
Over the life of the project, small and disadvantaged businesses secured meaningful contracts, building capacity that extends beyond a single project. Through the Elevating Future Scholarship, RPM invested in the next generation of engineers and construction leaders, strengthening the pipeline for years to come.
We had a first train ride for like a ceremonial train ride for customers, and hundreds of people showed up at Bryn Mawr that morning, and they were all waiting to get on. And I think it's the happiest I've ever seen CTA customers, to be honest.
Good morning, everyone. and welcome to the grand opening celebration for not one, but 4 new Chicago Transit Authority rail stations.
4 fully rebuilt stations, modern infrastructure, expanded accessibility, and a renewed connection between neighborhoods and opportunity.
There was a moment when we opened the stations and I saw this person in a mobility device, and they were coming up to the station. They got through the station, got on the elevator, got to the platform, and I watched this whole thing and I was like, this is why we did this.
As a wheelchair user, I'd never been to any of these red line stations because I could never use them. And the first time that I was in one of these red line stations was the day of the ribbon cutting. Thousands of people attended, and you know, for me, it really did bring tears to my eyes the day I got to push that up button to get that elevator to go up to the platform.
RPM wasn't just about rebuilding stations. It was about how we rebuilt them.
I am proud to be a part of an outreach team that embedded itself with our construction and engineers and got to understand how these complex projects are built.
And I think when you walk down Broadway, you walk down any of the Argyle, Berwyn, Bryn Mawr streets, or even through the red-purple bypass area, to see modern infrastructure in the middle of the city means the city is strong.
The impact of the RPM project will last for decades into the future. It epitomizes what investment in transit can bring. It shows people that beyond their wildest dreams, you can take a system like CTA and modernize it, make it accessible, make it beautiful, and make it a system for the future that will make communities thrive and will bring our city into the future.
We got there together.